I'm going to share something with you that can help you get to the heart of arguments with your significant other faster and switch the tone from frustration at each other to deeper understanding and compassion for both of you. I'm Jennell Elias. I'm clinically trained in marriage and family therapy, and I focus on couples with high demand lives, avoid feeling like distant roommates, restore or increase intimacy, and build growth that actually lasts. There's a saying among therapists, the issue is rarely the issue. It usually means that the reason someone walks into therapy is rarely the core issue causing all of the problems underneath it all. And it makes sense when you think about it. If our conscious minds are like an iceberg, where the really complex, deep stuff lies hidden below the surface, then it's only natural that there are things we're not actively thinking about in our daily lives that are actually really important to us when we do finally stop to look inward. Stuff we sometimes aren't even aware of until we dig deeper. For example, it's pretty common for someone to go see a therapist if suddenly out of nowhere they're getting these anxiety attacks that are getting in the way of them being able to do their jobs at work or be fully present around family at home. But once they start digging into what might be causing the anxiety attacks, they might realize that there were some negative experiences in the past, like trauma or grief and loss, that never really got processed at the time, and they've been unknowingly carrying that around all these years. So now, yes, that person is still working on their anxiety, but more importantly, they need to do some trauma work with the therapist or work on grieving and healing from the loss or whatever the case may be. They didn't start out day one saying, hey, I need to work through my trauma, but the issue at the beginning was not the real issue causing everything underneath. Hence the phrase, the issue is rarely the issue. After many years, I've come to extend that phrase into couples, families, and relationships by looking into the simple arguments that all couples get into from time to time. How many times have you started out arguing about one thing only for everything to circle back to some old grievance that still hasn't been properly resolved? Or how about this one? Have you ever started out discussing something seemingly random when suddenly the reaction is bigger than expected and you can't help but wonder, whoa, where did that come from? I was working with a couple a few years back that came to me at first because the physical intimacy had dried up. We'll call them John and Jane, which is absolutely not their real names. I remember a specific session where they started by updating me about a latest argument they'd had that really blew up over seemingly nothing. They were running late to a friend's baby shower, arguing about it on the car ride over, when Jane said, "You know what? I can't do this anymore. We're late yet again, and you don't even care. You've never cared. I'm done." Normally, arguing over being late to a baby shower might involve some frustration or mild annoyance at most. Breaking up over something like that definitely qualifies as a bigger reaction that doesn't quite match the situation. Taking a closer look at that during the session, we uncovered that several years prior, her mother had been in the hospital for about a week when she passed away. On the day that she passed, Jane's sister came to the hospital to give Jane a break for a few hours, to go home, take a shower, take a nap, and come back in the evening to swap again. Well, come evening time, John was driving Jane back to the hospital when they got caught up in crazy traffic, stuck on a railroad crossing behind a ridiculously long train, the works. By the time they pulled up to the hospital parking lot, Jane gets a call from her sister. Their mom had just passed away. Jane was devastated that she wasn't there to hold her mother's hand one last time or say goodbye. At the time, though, there was just so much going on between arrangements, funeral plans, everything that needed to be done. She didn't really give herself too much time to dwell on it, and as time passed, she thought she had gotten over it. During our session, she admitted that she actually kind of blamed him a little and realized that she'd been carrying some resentment towards him all of these years, unbeknownst to her. She felt like if we had just left the house earlier like I wanted to, none of this stuff would have happened, and I would have been able to see my mother one last time. And she really never forgave him. I mean, how could she when she didn't even realize she had been holding on to those feelings to begin with? Naturally, as time went on in their marriage, anytime he caused them to be late to something, it would fuel her anger and bitterness because there he goes, doing it again, without really being aware that that was where that was coming from. Once they were able to uncover that, then the healing could finally begin. And that's usually how it works. Once you know what's really causing a certain feeling or reaction, suddenly things fall right back into context again. We start to gain clarity that actually, in this case, being late to some baby shower of a friend I'm not even that close to is really not that important to me. Healing from this pain between us becomes the real focus. The mechanics of how to do all of that inner work and analyzing why we feel the way we do and where that might be coming from is a bit beyond the scope of this episode. In the interest of time, I'm going to keep things focused on this central point. So I will do another episode soon with a step-by-step guide on how to do that and when it might be time to seek additional help. But for now, I can say that in order for any couple to be able to call out when a certain argument or reaction more than likely has something else going on underneath, they need to have a mutual understanding that sometimes we need to pause mid-hurt and frustration to insert a bit of compassion for each other. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean building in this metaphorical freeze button that we agree to ahead of time for when one of us realizes there might be something deeper going on, where we put the current argument on pause temporarily and switch to a place of, I care about you, I'm here for you, I'm listening, tell me what's coming up for you right now. Doing this creates room in the relationship for both of us to be raw, flawed human beings with our own baggage, triggers, traumas, etc., where we can safely explore some of those underlying issues that we're not always aware of. Committed relationships are not the joining of two perfect, completed people who have it all together. We share a life knowing that there will be messy feelings and experiences that come up from time to time, but that we will work it out together, and we'll be a lot stronger for it in the end. But creating the kind of emotional safety that allows for that level of healing work requires having compassion for our partners and ourselves. It means seeking to understand by asking our significant others why they feel so strongly about something instead of immediately getting defensive. And sometimes it might require a professional to help guide us through that healing work when the waters are too muddied with complicated emotions and years of past hurts all layering on top of each other. As always, feel free to send any questions through the submission form I've got linked at the bottom of this episode's description, and subscribe if you haven't already so you get the notification of when I go live to answer them. I hope today's topic helps us start building more awareness in our own lives and relationships of times when the issue at hand might not really be the true issue underneath it all. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't happen smoothly from day one. This kind of approach is more advanced, so it takes some practice before it begins to feel natural. Even if it does feel awkward at first, I'm proud of you for taking the initiative to improve things between you two for the better. We'll talk again soon.